Excuse me. Welcome to another episode, everyone. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Man, check this out. So, white boy Aaron from Southside Compton Crip, he was accused of killing Serena Williams' sister, the tennis superstar Serena Williams. Her name was Yetunde Price back in 2003. I believe it was. Now, he got off for that case, but his co-defendant was indeed convicted. White boy Aaron, the gang member from Southside Compton Crip, went on with his life on the street after having the case against him dismissed against the murder of Serena Williams' sister. Just last year, some 18-year-old individuals from West Side Piru blood caught up to white boy Aaron from Southside Compton Crip in August of 2025. They brutally unalived him. They had machine guns. He was in a car. They shot him and 3 other individuals that were in the car. These individuals are 18 years old from West Side Piru, and they have in excess of 48 to 49 charges, including shooting at the police with machine guns when the police got after them during the high-speed chase. The police caught up to them after they gunned down white boy Aaron, and they had a high-speed chase, and they shot at the police with these same machine guns that they had just deleted white boy Aaron with. Let's get into it. Wild work.
You been tripping on them hoes.
3 suspects have been arrested after allegedly opening fire on sheriff's deputies during a pursuit last night. Sky 5 overhead earlier this morning, where LA County Sheriff's deputies still have a perimeter set up near the intersection of South Zamora Avenue and East 139th Street in Compton. That's where the suspects were barricaded before being taken into custody. They were wanted in connection with a deadly shooting on Long Beach Boulevard that killed 1 person. During the chase, one of the passengers in the getaway vehicle allegedly fired gunshots at deputies. It is unclear who the shooting victim is.
In today's video, we're going to be talking about white boy Aaron from Southside Compton Crip. We're going to break down how he was arrested for the murder of Venus and Serena Williams' sister, Yetunde Price, back in 2003. And we're also going to break down how he was murdered in 2025 by some members of Westside Piru that were about 18 years old. But let's dive right into it. Now, as we said, white boy Aaron would be from Southside Compton Crip. And as you can see, they would be located in the white rectangle. And white boy Aaron would be born and raised in the Southside Compton Crip territory. And some would say growing up, he was the only white boy that was around that area. And growing up, white boy Aaron would be in and out of jail for little minor things. But unfortunately, in 2003, he would be arrested for a serious case. On September 17th of 2003, white boy Aaron, aka Aaron Hammer, was arrested at the age of 24. And he would be accused of shooting and killing Yetunde Price, who was 31 years old at the time of her death. Yetunde Price would be the sister of Venus and Serena Williams. As you can see right here, this would be a picture of both of them, with Yetunde Price being to the left. But Yetunde Price wouldn't be the only person in that vehicle. She was also riding around with her boyfriend at that time. And it's alleged and rumored that her boyfriend was actually a member from a Compton gang also, and he actually exchanged fire with them. But detectives are alleging that white boy Aaron and other members of Southside Crip opened fire on the vehicle from the front yard. And at the crime scene, police would find an assault rifle and multiple shell casings. But white boy Aaron wouldn't be the only one that was charged with this murder. He would have a co-defendant, and that co-defendant's name was Robert Maxfield, and he was also from Southside Compton Crip. They would both have to sit in the county jail fighting this case for about a year, but at the end of 2004, white boy Aaron would have this case dismissed. However, his co-defendant would plead no contest in 2006 to voluntary manslaughter after having 2 mistrials. And in April of 2006, they would sentence his co-defendant to 15 years in state prison. So clearly, white boy Aaron was wrongly accused and wrongly arrested for the murder of Yetunde Price. White boy Aaron would then stay free for the next few years, catching a few cases here and there. But unfortunately, in August of 2025, White boy Aaron would be murdered outside of a liquor store in Southside Compton Crip territory. White boy Aaron, whose real name is Aaron Hammer, was shot and killed at the age of 46 on August 27th of 2025. And he was shot around 10:40 at night outside of a liquor store on South Long Beach Boulevard. However, police was close by, and while responding to the scene of the shooting, they would see the suspect vehicle fleeing the scene. They would then attempt to pull the vehicle over, and a pursuit would begin. They would then travel westbound on the 91 freeway. That's when they would approach the Central Ave exit, and they would take it. They would then drive to South Zamora Avenue, which would be near Central Avenue and Rosecrans Avenue. And that's when all three suspects would jump out and run on foot. However, deputies would say that during the chase, the suspects fired at their patrol vehicles multiple times with an AK-47, and one bullet actually struck their vehicle, but no deputies were injured. And inside of the suspect vehicle, they would find 3 rifles. But after a few hours, all 3 were taken into custody around 6 a.m. the next morning. And this would be South Zamora Avenue, where they ditched the vehicle. And as you can see, this would be the heart of the Westside Piru's, right near Tam's Burgers. And that would be about 4 miles away from where the shooting happened. As you can see, the 2 white circles with the arrow. And all 3 suspects arrested for the murder were members of Westside Piru. And the people arrested for the murder would be some young boys. It would be an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 25-year-old. And don't forget that white boy Aaron was 46 at the time of his death. And all 3 suspects would be arrested and booked on August 27th of 2025.
Got to be real careful out here on these streets now. So he was accused, as we see, of the murder. I kept saying of Serena Williams, but of Venus and Serena Williams' sister. And he beat the case fighting the case for some time, beat the case, they dismissed the case, could be lack of evidence or whatever. I don't know. I'm not here to litigate the situation. He walked away from it. His co-defendant did not. As aforementioned, he got time. White boy Aaron ended up catching cases on the street, a few cases here and there or whatever, but he's still out there apparently living the gang life. But here it is. You're 46 years old and a 22-year-old, or an 18-year-old, and a 19-year-old, and a 25-year-old take you out, take your life. They just started gang banging. How long has an 18-year-old been out here on the street gang banging? Hell, he wasn't even alive when white boy Aaron caught his case in 2003. None of them was really alive. Only one was like 2 years old or something. When he was already out in the street, gang banging and catching cases, murder cases and all this, even though he beat the case. These dudes come along out of nowhere. You wasn't even born at this time and take him out when clearly he's an OG. But this is what the streets are. They're unforgiving. They don't care. And, you be hanging out. I don't know that white boy Aaron was hanging out. They say he was at a liquor store or whatever. He could have just been going to get something out of the liquor store. It doesn't mean, you just been walking into a store and going back home. Doesn't mean he was hanging out or whatever at the liquor store. But whatever. He was in the street at the time at a store in a gang-infested neighborhood, and these dudes come up and gun him down. Young dudes. No respect. Ain't no hanging out on the streets at this time. No matter who you are or how old you are. And if you're older, you certainly shouldn't be hanging out on the streets at this point, because the streets, they don't care. They're unforgiving, and they will take you out.
And they would be charged with 1 count of murder, but there would be 5 enhancements on that 1 count. 1 enhancement would be street terrorism. That's a violent felony. The other enhancement would be street terrorism again. That's a life sentence. Another one is intentional discharge of a firearm, 1 or more serious felonies, and a drive-by murder. In count 2 is attempted murder. So I'm assuming white boy Aaron might have been with a few people that night and they all happened to be shot. In that attempted murder would have 3 enhancements on it. Street terrorism, that's a violent felony. Street terrorism, again, that's a life sentence. And 1 or more serious violent felony convictions. In count 3 would be another count of attempted murder. So like we said, a few people might have got shot that night. In count 3 would have the same enhancements, but they would add 1 more enhancement of intentional discharge of a firearm. And they would also be charged with 3 counts of assaulting a person with a machine gun. And that would be count 4, 5, and 6. And they would also have enhancements on it. With the enhancements being the same ones that we just spoke about. In count 7 would be shooting at an inhabited dwelling or a vehicle. And that would also have enhancements. In count 8 would be another count of attempted murder. And again, that would have enhancements. Count 9 would be assault with a machine gun on a police officer. And again, that would also have enhancements. In count 10 would be another count of assault with a machine gun on a police officer. And again, that would also have enhancements. And the last count would be shooting at a vehicle. And that would have one enhancement on it.
Yeah, so they shooting at the police too, according to this anyway. According to the charges, according to the police, as we just seen, the police got behind them or what have you. This crime was committed on Long Beach Boulevard and ended up cornering them somewhere on Rosecrans or Zamora, somewhere in Compton, ended up cornering them. And they came out after 3 hours of a standoff, it looks like. But at some point, they shot at the officers as well with these rifles or machine guns, AK-47. They're charged with, young dudes, if they're convicted of this stuff, their life is over. They're getting a 2-for-1. It's the system, the system that despises gang members and despises this culture. They say, well, you took him out. That's good. And now we're taking you out. That's good. 18, 19, and 25 years old with all of these charges. These are very serious charges. Murder, shooting at the police with firearms, assault with deadly weapons, all of this. And they have, as I said earlier, about 48 or so charges. How are you ever going to come home from this if you are convicted, I'm saying?
So in total, they were charged with 46 counts, which would be 1 count of murder, 3 counts of attempted murder, 3 counts of assaulting a person with a machine gun, 2 counts of shooting at an inhabited dwelling or vehicle, and 2 counts of assault with a machine gun on a police officer, and a bunch of enhancements. And this might be the craziest case that we covered so far, but all 3 of them would be sitting in the LA County Jail with no bail waiting for trial.
Good morning. A lot of moving parts here. So this all came to an end just after 5 o'clock this morning when deputies finally moved in and arrested those 3 suspects. But it was a wild and dangerous night to get to that point. And I actually just spoke to one of the deputies that was involved in that pursuit. He says he was in that vehicle that was shot at by suspects after they were in another area. They saw what happened at a 7-Eleven with a shooting there, and they went off after those suspects. After a chase, there was gunfire, a long standoff. This all 3 suspects have now been arrested, but this all started at a shooting at another location at Long Beach Boulevard.
LA County Sheriff's deputies say it was about 10:40 last night that they responded here for shots fired. They said they found a man down on the ground here in critical condition suffering from a gunshot wound. LA County fire paramedics whisked him away to a local hospital. Unfortunately, he died at the hospital, so a homicide investigation was launched here. Now, the suspects involved in this shooting later led deputies on a pursuit that ended with that search and large perimeter where Amanda was. Now, let me bring you over to my computer and show you the locations of where this is. So here is that scene that you saw right here that I was just showing you, live pictures of where that homicide happened. That's Long Beach and Shinner. But the pursuit took the suspects all the way over here, about 4 miles away. This is the location 139th and Zamora where Amanda was. And during that pursuit, as Amanda mentioned, there were shots fired at deputies.
But that right there is going to wrap it up for the story of white boy Aaron from Southside.
Wow. And that's Respectable Rants YouTube channel. Shout out to Respectable Rants. Let me know what you think in the comments. White boy Aaron. Many ways to go with this. I don't know what happened here. Other than apparently it seems gang related. I believe they said he was deep in his own hood, Southside Compton Crip hood, when this transpired a few months ago, August of last year, where 3 dudes, 18, 19, and 25 years old, pulled up and gunned him down. They're from Westside Piru. He from Southside Compton. So obviously they was out there lurking, looking for some stuff to do just like this, and took him out. Young dudes though. He don't get a pass, 46 years old. You don't say, oh man, he an OG, man, let him go. Shh. Nope. That's why I'm not in the street. I'm cool. They don't give a damn. They'll take you out. Youngsters have no respect. Now their life is over though. If they're convicted, who wins? Who wins in this situation? One person lost his life, other people shot up, and these individuals are going to lose their life if they're convicted. the murder charge alone, much less the shooting at the cops and all that, they really finna try to come down on them and convict them just based on that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay safe and stay free, people.